Near the village of Vishnupur, there was a beautiful forest where a small village was situated. In that village lived a boy named Raghav, known for his hard work and honesty. However, he always felt unhappy due to one bad habit, constantly comparing himself to others. Whenever he saw his friend Karen, who was always the top student, he wished he were just as smart. When he looked at his wealthy neighbor, Siddhar, he longed to have as much money as him. Even when he saw someone running fast, he wished he could do the same. This constant comparison distracted Raghav from his studies and work. He slowly became discouraged, believing he could never be as successful as those around him. These negative thoughts gradually took over his life, sinking him into disappointment. One day, a famous saint visited the village. He was known for his deep wisdom and ability to enlighten people about life's truths. Upon hearing about the saint, Raghav decided to seek him out and share his troubles. Bowing respectfully, Raghav said, "Guru Dev, I work very hard, but whenever I see someone better than me, I feel sad. I believe I will never be as successful as they are. Please help me get rid of this feeling." The saint smiled and said, "Come to the oldest tree in the village tomorrow morning, and you will find your answer." Raghav found the saint's words puzzling, but believed there must be a reason behind them. The next morning, as the sun rose, Raghav hurried to the ancient tree. The saint was already there, waiting for him. Looking around the forest, the saint asked, "What do you see?" Raghav observed his surroundings and replied, "There are different kinds of trees here. Some are tall, some are short, some bear many fruits, while others have none." The saint smiled, preparing to teach Raghav an important lesson. The saint looked at Raghav and asked, "If a mango tree started comparing itself to a coconut tree and complained that it was not as tall, what would you think? And if the coconut tree complained that it could not bear sweet fruits like the mango tree, would that be reasonable?" Raghav shook his head. "No, Guru Dev, that would be foolish. Each tree has its own unique qualities." The saint smiled and continued, "Then tell me, how does this forest look to you?" Raghav glanced around and said, "It looks beautiful and balanced." The saint nodded. "Exactly. Just like this forest, every human being has a unique purpose. The mango tree is meant to bear sweet fruits, while the coconut tree is strong and tall. They do not need to compare themselves to find their value." Then, the saint led Raghav to a pond and pointed at the fish swimming there. If a fish started complaining that it could not fly like a bird, would that be fair? Raghav thought for a moment and then replied, "Not at all, Guru Dev. The fish is made to swim, while the bird is made to fly." The saint smiled kindly. "Then why do you want to be like someone else? Each person has their own journey and strengths." Those words struck Raghav deeply. Hearing the saint's wisdom, Raghav suddenly realized something important. He understood that comparing himself to others only made him miserable and eroded his confidence. Instead of focusing on his strengths, he had always looked at other successes and felt inferior. From that day on, Raghav decided to change. He stopped comparing himself to anyone and started focusing on his own growth. He worked on developing the skills he was good at, studied diligently, and put in continuous effort. When he worked with his own abilities in mind, he felt at ease and much happier. Over time, Raghav gradually regained his confidence. His dedication and perseverance led him to achieve great success. Eventually, he built a stable career, becoming a successful businessman and an inspiration to many in his village. When people asked him about the secret to his success, Raghav would simply smile and say, "If a fish tries to fly, it will always fail. But if it hones its swimming skills, it can rule the entire ocean. Don't compare yourself to others. Focus on your own journey." Years later, through persistence and effort, Raghav had built a strong and prosperous life. He not only secured a good future for himself, but also helped many in his village. He was no longer the boy who constantly compared himself to others. Now, he was an inspiration for those struggling to find their self-worth. Whenever someone asked him for advice on success, Raghav would always say, "If a fish tries to fly, it will always fail. But if it focuses on swimming, it can master the ocean." Likewise, if a person keeps comparing themselves to others, they will never feel enough. But when they realize their own value and develop their strengths, they will find their own path to success. Raghav also often reminded people, the sun and the moon cannot shine at the same time, but both are important in their own way. Similarly, every person has their own time and opportunity. Instead of wishing to be someone else, focus on your own journey and keep growing. His wisdom changed the mindset of many in the village. Thanks to his story, they understood that happiness and success do not come from comparing themselves to others, but from appreciating and developing their own unique potential.